Pleasure to speak to you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Excellent work in the
Thank
film.
you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I wanted to ask you, with a character like this that has such a distinctive appearance, when you're creating the character, do you begin from the outside in with hair and wardrobe and makeup to create the look, or do you start with the essence of the character on the inside and then let all that other stuff come?
It came together quite quickly because we were on a tight budget, as you know. The film was shot in 5 weeks, which is extraordinary. I loved the script, and my starting point, quite right, was the man inside. The internal urges, loyalties, losses that man has lived through and suffered, and starts a new life based upon exile and suffering and optimism, strength to build a new life. A university professor in the old world, a driving instructor in the new. So still teaching. And I think that in his DNA, if we can go from the inside out, is the man who has to teach. The man who, not out of arrogance, but out of compassion, says, I need to tell this person something. I can, just a little bit of advice might help. But it's not pompous. It's not ego. It's genuine Sikhism way of saying, I need to help the other. And then I arrive on set and I meet the wonderful Harpreet Singh Tour, who was our advisor. And he, every morning, bound my head in the turban. So we didn't talk much. He was very encouraging, very delighted that I was playing a Sikh, really delighted. And then I realized, my goodness, the wardrobe have given me a matching tie to my turban. And I look at all the Sikhs and I think, oh, they all are coordinated. It's almost like a military uniform. There's something military about them.
Yeah.
So there's another layer I had to my character. A professor, but also there's something in his discipline and his approach, rather like his approach to his nephew. You cross a line, he says, stop it. There's that military discipline, and yet, as well as that, there's a tenderness in him that our female director is brilliant at filming.
And you've worked with her before.
I have. Women are extraordinary as directors at putting male tenderness and male vulnerability on the screen and celebrating it as a masculine quality. Whereas I dare to say it, perhaps some male directors, their male ego gets in the way.
Do you think it's the ego?
I think something is getting in the way that needs to be uncluttered. And I think that the more female directors, Scorsese films male vulnerability brilliantly, as does Spielberg. And the more that we have female directors putting wonderful things on the screen, the more we will say, you know what, it's okay to be vulnerable on the screen. And Darvan is knocked into the gutter, his turban's knocked off. That's a terrible thing to do to a Sikh, is to knock his turban off.
Yeah.
And he copes with it.
Well,
you see him totally soaked to the skin, totally vulnerable, and meeting his wife. Not under the circumstances he'd rehearsed in his head.
Right. Well, it's a brilliant performance, and always an honor to speak to you, sir. Thank you so much for your